this video on retraining, I'm going to talk about retraining your trigger. And if you're starting out, it still applies to you, because if you've been out of the game for like a month, maybe more, you probably atrophied in a lot of the skills. A lot of those mind-body connections might be a little rusty, and not permanently gone if you've trained for a long time, but it can take a little bit to build it back up. So one of the drills that I like to do to get my finger to work independently is a trigger drill, stolen from Rob Latham, but it's very effective. So the idea here is to go from here to pulling the trigger without moving the gun within starting out about a half second, making sure you can get it within that window. And what I like to use is the dry fire par timer. So I'll go ahead and pull this up, and there we go. So I like to start out with 0.5s on the par time, so that's 0.5 of a second, a delay time of 5 seconds. If you need to rack your pistol, that's when you would do it, but I have a double action here, so I won't need to do that. I'll just need to get it to that first click. So it would be the standard decock area. You don't want to do it like all the way forward here, because typically when you decock, it's actually right there. That's actually a bit of a difference in the trigger pull. So when you decock, you're going to be here, not here. You can see the difference between where the hammer is. So anyways, go to your decock area, unless it's like a Beretta 92, and then it doesn't really matter. So anyways, I'm going to do 5 reps with this, and I'm going to do 5 reps at a time. I'm going to do a couple of different ones. I'm going to do one relatively close, and then I'm going to do it far away with focusing on the target, so you guys can see. So it's going to be loud. I'm trying to go from here to pulling the trigger without moving the gun before the second beat goes. So first beat, I start the firing process, and I have a half second to complete it and be on target before the second beat. So here we go. Let's go for the head. Now this is working on muzzle offset. No, didn't beat it that time. So the problem that I encountered there is trying to hold the pistol after I've been doing a lot of grip training today. It wobbles around a lot, I get tired, and then I start having that sympathetic movement with these fingers, because they get a little bit weak, but they start re-engaging when my trigger fingers start pulling with a good amount of weight in a short amount of time. That's just how the body works. You have to train your body to work differently, because this is not a skill you do in everyday life. You can't just pick up a gun and expect you're going to perform. That's not how the body works. This is a very unnatural thing. But anyways, let's go ahead and move you in closer. I'm going to be focusing on this little guy right here and trying to stay within the 5 zone. So let me go ahead and move it, and I'll double the distance, if not a little bit more, and we'll do it again. Okay, on the last one, I know you probably saw it shoot off to the side there. And that's just, honestly, me. Got worn out forearms, and that's what happens when you spend a lot of time on the gun and you don't have really the wrist strength or the endurance. It's going to shoot off in different directions, and I didn't see it happen in my sights, but the laser doesn't lie. And you don't need live ammo to see that. You can just train with your laser and see if there's any movement. Realistically, you should see the laser blink on target with no movement. That's the desired outcome. It's a little harder to do, but you can still do that even if you're moving. I've done it. I've seen it happen, so there's no real reason not to do that. And I would say that using something like the ELMS from G-Sight is a lot better than like a SIRT gun, because a SIRT gun doesn't really have a real pistol-like trigger. As soon as you put pressure on the trigger or get to the wall, the laser goes off. And yeah, bullets don't continue flying after that initial zap. So anyways, it's going to be a little bit different. This The laser that you put in your actual firearm is going to be mechanically aligned to the bore and tell you what your gun is doing with how it functions, how long it takes to get to the firing pin, and then broadcast that laser out. So, with all that said, I think it's just a little bit more accurate, and this drill is very good for telling you if you have actually worked up to the ability to have an independently functioning trigger finger. Because that's the biggest thing that throws people off. As you saw, it's not, flinching or whatever, jerking the trigger. Because you need to be able to pull the trigger fast without moving the gun. People have been doing it since ever. So since ever somebody has had, a gun and been good at shooting it. So you just got to learn how to pull the trigger without moving the gun fast. So with all that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you will invest in a laser and train with it. Invest in snap caps. It has saved me tens of thousands of dollars so far. Hundreds of dollars up to the point that I moved to Arkansas because retraining with live ammo would be pointless and it could probably cause training scars, So this is a good way to get on point before you start using live ammunition. So definitely spend the time, practice if you actually care. You can't just pick up a gun and perform. You actually have to practice with it. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and you guys have a good one.